Alright, welcome to this Eliminating the Seattle Mariners video. Seattle finishes 14-20. It's 3 games better than a year ago. They hit 250 something a year ago. They're now hitting 246. 4.38 team ERA 2 years in a row. Sounds like a Kingdom kind of earned run average. With a team we assembled 3 years prior to their arrival in 1977. I guess we'll start with the offense. Glenn Adams is a nice hitter, but he's only a platoon player, so he only has 70 at-bats. Matty Al Lou's card will expire. He led the club in at-bats and hits. Hard to imagine. He hit 290-something with his card, but he would not come back after the 73 season for whatever reason. Maybe he couldn't just... He went out on a good note, we'll say. Jerry Morales had 5 home runs. That's nice. Bill North had 15 stolen bases. That's nice. Plays good defense. He should be a steady fixture for the Mariners, taken away from Oakland. In the pitching department, this is puzzling. Ross Grimsley, Tom Bradley at the very bottom are 2-13 with an ERA around 5 3/4. You take the 2-13 away, it's a 12-7 baseball team. But I can't really say how Grimsley and Bradley aren't... It's almost like the team didn't show up when those guys pitched, and they showed up when Steve Busby and Glenn Abbott did. I can't sit here and say Busby and Abbott are better than Bradley and Grimsley. It's just how the cards fell, folks. Sometimes statistics just go that way in a short sample. Maybe the next 40 games, Grimsley and Bradley will have the Busby-Abbott stats, but... Lockwood is the all-star closer with 9 saves. Not a lot else to report, folks. Let's take a look now at Seattle's group of players. And we'll look at first the 8 players from 1973 that'll have to be evaluated to see if we keep, waive, or retire them. This is a lot of hitters to have to go and evaluate in one off season. It is 7 of the 8 cards are hitters. This is the same distribution we just had with the Padres. Really weird. Back-to-back franchises are looking at the same thing, retooling an offense with just one pitcher to retool. Of these hitters, oh gosh. Well, there's a couple guys we know move forward nicely, but a lot of this stuff are guys just on the edge of baseball who might be retired. That is not a good look right there. Sad to say. Let's look at the 12 guys who will be returning, which is just going to be 5 hitters, I believe. Some of these guys are good. All right, so we have the Glenn Adams card. So that's a great start, but it's just a platoon as a DH. But boy, he crushes righties. So this is nice. Don't get me wrong. I love this card for him. See, this is what you have to do. You expand your teams, get a guy who isn't protected, and they can utilize them as they wish. Now, obviously, you can't find 20 Glenn Adams, unfortunately, which they could, but they can't. He's nice. This is a nice catcher. Ellis was the All-Star a year ago. This year, he didn't hit a home run with this card. So he just played 40 games, never hit a home run. Also has power. That's a nice catcher. Throwing arm's not there, but yeah, that's a fine, awesome catcher to have for a team like this, Now, I know Pachorik's here because he plays a big chunk of his career in the late 70s with the Mariners before getting traded to the White Sox. It's a nice early card for him, so we know they're going to run Pachorik all the way through. The incredible John Vukovic phenomenon of having Strat-O-Matic cards throughout a limited career where he is known as a 1/3 baseman who hits below 200. You can find, 4, 5, or 6 of these sprinkled throughout 1970 to 1980. Somewhere in there, you'll find a John Vukovic card. A lot of times you'll see this, nothing there. He'll hit 188, he'll hit 160, he'll hit 120-something. But Strat keeps printing them out so you can bring them in defensively late in games. This is a tragic story. Danny Thompson would pass away. I think it was leukemia. I'm not sure. before his 30th birthday. Sad story. 3 shortstop. So he'll play probably his whole career here in Seattle before his time comes. They have a 7-man pitching staff, and oddly enough, this is maybe the bright spot of this franchise. Because here again, here's the Grimsley card. Look, this is a Baltimore. He's an 18-13, 307 with Baltimore. Now Baltimore's going to support him a heck of a lot better with defense and, you know, but still, that's a nice card to be an innings eater, ace at the top, joined by another guy off another playoff 75 Royals. Busby, however, would not be around when the Royals start winning that division. He's an 18-game winner here. You have Abbott, the 4 starter. He's okay. And then the whole bullpen's coming back. And it's the balanced bullpen. So this is another strength for this team. Lefty, righty, lefty, righty. You got your closer. Folkers is a lefty. This is nice. This is what you want to see. A lefty who's better against righties. And then the other lefty, Pitlock, is a lefty who gets lefties out. With Stan Thomas dominant there. Look at this bullpen. So maybe this is being wasted. Maybe having such a great situational bullpen isn't valuable for a team that doesn't get into great situations. All those guys would be trade chips if you could, you know, get a haul in the deal. But that's a dozen players for Seattle they got to build on. They're behind Toronto as the 2 teams are competing for. We would know that because Toronto gets to playoffs and World Series before these guys do. So with that, let's take a look at the guys that from 73 that they have to keep, waive, and retire. All right, folks, so here is the first player to evaluate of the Mariners. It's Matty Lou. Really had a great stick. Would have been a great leadoff hitter. They had Bill Norris. He batted second, could bat third. He slapped the ball around. Did a really nice job in 73 with a couple different teams. Yankees and Cardinals at 295. Now, he did actually come back in 74 with 88 at-bats and a .198, but that card doesn't exist. So I was a little wrong. I thought he ended his season after 73, but he did participate, and that's when the evaluation was he didn't have it anymore at age 35. So that's a shame, but in either event, we know that'll be a retirement. We're not going to even put him on waivers if the card exists, and I don't believe it does. I don't recall it. I would have remembered it, and that explains why he does indeed leave baseball after a bad performance as expected traditionally. So let's put him on the retired list for Seattle. So we go into the 3 columns. Column 3, $1 or token for retired players. Next player is Chris Arnold. And this might be his best stats of 73 as a utility player. Pinch hitter, second and third baseman. That's exactly what he did, plus a little bit of catching. So it's only 63 plate appearances with a high mark of 296. He's rewarded with more playing time in 74, but the numbers tumbled. He might be a decent utility player still, depending on how his splits go. Probably gets waivers based on plate appearances with the 74 Giants. We could check that out. I'll take a peek at that momentarily. But for now, let's take a look and see if the waiver card exists for Chris Arnold and the Giants. We'll have to wait on that, I guess, as this thing tries to reload. For now, let's put him on waivers. Next player is Al Gallagher. Gallagher actually was also a Giant. Might see them both here. Chris Arnold, and I think Al Gallagher might both be Giants. Chris Arnold was an extra player, so he gets waivers. Al Gallagher, let's go check his career here to see if he's still with the Giants. Well, we have our answer here. Sometimes you can get it right here. See, his career is over in 73, so we don't really have to look at his stats at that point. So let's just retire him, and we'll keep Chris Arnold waivers. So not a good start for the Mariners. They're clearing the decks. They're saving their money. They've only spent $101. They're supposed to spend $40,000. So they have 5 guys to give that to. And it's going to be Sonny Jackson, and this is not continuing in the good columns, as you can expect. I think we're done with him as also. 74, Sonny Jackson will have one more year. Center and shortstop, interesting. Nope, 7 at-bats in 1974. So he's on the retired list. And right now, it is not looking good. This is almost like a new expansion realm. There's another thing to note is we already have 3 guys retired. So the Mariners have to get on the phone and move at least one of these retirement players to another franchise. You can't retire 3 guys. So they have to make some moves to facilitate that. It's going from bad to worse right now in the offseason for the Seattle Mariners. They still haven't spent any money, and they don't have any talent. The next player is Ted Kubiak. Now, I know he'll exist as a utility player for a reasonable amount of time, through 76. Utility players like Kubiak, who are switch hitters, tend to last. 73 Oakland. Give the man a World Series ring, maybe. 74 Oakland as well. Give him another ring. 75 is with Oakland and the Padres and finishes with the Padres. So in this scenario, 74, a waivered year. With Oakland, he should have a card. We'll check that here on the roster sheet for Oakland. Kubiak has a card. So, gosh, I hate to lock him in as a keeper. You know, all the other teams in the league would just put him on waivers, but let's make him a keeper now, okay? And then easily, he would be the first guy off the boat. He'd be the 5th Beatle if we can find 4 guys who like better, put him on waivers. So he's got a waiver option. Next player is Jerry Morales, and he's got to be kept because we need guys who play in the 1970s for this team. Morales will. Jerry Morales. Yeah, he plays all the way through 83, and he's a steady outfielder. Steady would be a great description of a guy. He's always hitting 270, look at this, 73, 270, 274, 290, 286, 284, right in that realm. Probably 10 to 15 home runs. Was always good defensively. He made an all-star team in 77. This card is available. So, here you go. You want an all-star? You get an all-star in the offseason and a 4-year contract. Hey, beggars can't be choosers. That's a 4-year contract for an all-star outfielder, even though it's a 795 OPS, which is also good, really very good for this team. I'm going to highlight that as well. As Jerry Morales, who was more of a role player for a lot of his career, gets to be a foundational player on a 4-year contract for the Seattle Mariners before they come into existence. Next player, Bill North, also going to be a keeper. And we know he'll be at the top of the lineup here. Moreover, most importantly, he'll be away from the Oakland A's. So no Bill North on the Dynasty A's. That can hurt Oakland. He would get 2 rings. And it's these stolen bases here at the top of the lineup, supplanting Campaneris at the top. Led the league in 74. Steady presence at the top. Got MVP votes in 73. Steady all the way throughout the decade. Could always draw walks and steal bases. You can't ask for more than that out of a leadoff hitter, regardless of where the batting average is. A star for Seattle. in this recreation. So now it's turned pretty good now after a dismal start to this process. We just, yeah, we're happy. We got 2 guys we can count on for Seattle, for a franchise that still doesn't exist until 77. That's the 7-hitter evaluation. And now we got Tom Bradley. And this is not going to be a good finish, unfortunately, as Bradley was good with the White Sox, okay with the Giants, and then was out by 75. He had some nice years. These are really nice cards we use for the White Sox. Innings eater, low whip, steady pitcher. Look at the starts, 39 and 40 starts. This card did not play very well. And then by 74, it's up to a 5.16 ERA, 159 whip. This will get you waivers. We'll double check it with the Giants. Sure, they'll have a card here for Bradley. Yeah, there it is. I mean, you just have to waive this card and hope you can find another right-handed pitcher. And that's also good. If we like the rest of the staff, we only have to add a right-handed pitcher to this team because we're keeping Grimsley, Pitlock, and Folkers. That's great news. The easiest thing, Seattle, first 7 rounds of the draft should all be hitters. And in the 8th round, get the right-handed pitcher. You could move, there's going to be a bunch of guys on the street who can fill in that spot. You could even move Abbott into the 3-hole and whoever replaces Bradley into the 4-hole. But this team has got to find some guys in addition to Morales and North. They have 2 guys. And if they get another keeper, and they're going to have to make a deal, which means they're going to have to dangle somebody. Somebody's leaving this organization. It's easy to see, hey, this team doesn't exist yet. So Glenn Adams goes to the Twins, maybe. John Ellis goes to the Indians or Texas Rangers, maybe. Grimsley goes to Baltimore or Cincinnati. Busby goes to the Royals. There's a lot of teams that can come calling for some of this talent. Cleveland gets Stan Thomas. Do the Mets come calling for Skip Lockwood? So there's a lot of waves this offseason. Seattle is going to be an interesting team to see what they do in the offseason to help. They need to close the gap, first and foremost, with the Toronto Blue Jays, who have clearly been better than the Mariners, as both teams are sort of competing with the initial entrance to the American League at the same time. So that's the evaluation of Seattle Mariners. Hope you're enjoying watching these analysis. We'll see you next time.